Hi and welcome. My name is Eddie Parker. I'm a software engineer on Project Spark. What I'm going to show you today is kind of a tutorial on how Project Spark works, what it's all about, and what you can expect when you get to play our game. To my left here, you can see us playing our trailer. This trailer is available on YouTube if you want to see it on whole. It's showcasing our closed beta, which opens on October 2013. And it also showcases some of the games that you can create within Project Spark. For those of you who don't know, Project Spark is a platform for building, playing, and sharing video games. Everything that you create in Project Spark can be riffed on by other people, and it's a great source of inspiration. We've built flying games, we've built great simulators, we've got JRPG style action, we've got Limbo with dark humor, we've got crazy zany goblins, whatever you could ask for, we've got it for you. I highly recommend you check this stuff out because I don't think you're going to believe everything we can do, but that's why I'm here, to try and set the record straight. So when this trailer's done, I'm going to switch into gameplay mode. In the meantime, what I want you to get out of this is we are a game that will be coming on Xbox One, Xbox 360, Windows 8, and what's created on one can be shared and played on another. So if your friends don't have access to the same consoles or PC you do, well, nothing's stopping you from sharing and playing with them on a different one. There's a lot of power to Project Spark, so why don't I dive right in? I'm going to switch now to our Xbox One, and I'm going to start from an empty level. This is what I call the deep end of the pool. This is where all the tools are super powerful, but I think you'll be surprised at just how simple they are. Looking at this level, you're going to see that it's a pretty empty, small play space. We've put 3 elements here that can be used in a gameplay fashion, and I'll show you them really quickly. This is a troll that basically is going to have a little cutscene saying you'll never get our precious coin. Over here, we've got birds with what we call default brains. These brains cause them to fly away. Speaking of default brains, this troll comes at you and it looks like he's kind of had a bad day and he wants to take out some aggression. So that's great, but this isn't really a game, and moreover, this play space isn't really all that inspiring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop right into edit mode. In going into edit mode, you're going to see I've got an array of tools to my left for building and shaping my world. I'm going to tackle the openness of this area first and create something that's a little bit more believable for trolls to come into. I'm able to change the shape of the brush I'm using. I've currently used our add subtract brush, and I can start to build maybe like a multi-tiered platform for these trolls to exist within. I can scale things, right, get that multi-tiered effect, and start to build something that's a little bit more believable that trolls might be in. They wouldn't just be in platforms in the middle of nowhere. So as a rough outline, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I can shape it using some of our advanced tools, such as here is our plateau and tunnel tool. Changing the shape, maybe changing the size a touch. I can use this to kind of burrow into here, build a neat little tunnel. Maybe I can go up and come out the other side, and you can see I've just shaped that hole the entire way through. I can build some alcoves in here, something that kind of gives a nice little creepy overhang. And if I want a more organic shape than this big cliff face, what I can end up doing is switching to our roughen tool. I like roughen because, like I said, it gives that organic feel to things. And if I just kind of feather it lightly, you're going to believe that this is pretty natural formation. So there, I'm kind of melting the terrain and perturbing it just into something more interesting. I'm going to do this in one last place, which is going to be the ground floor here. Shape this a little bit more believably. And there, this looks like a craggy rock surface where you're going to end up seeing some pretty good gameplay come out of. But it's missing a bit of color. So I'm going to switch over to our paint mode. And in paint, we offer you a variety of terrain materials for you to paint with. Switching over to desert dunes, I'm able to just right trigger and hold down on the Xbox One and paint as I like. As I hit the wall, you're going to notice that all the sedimentary rock comes out here. And you can see that we just paint what's right for you. We take a lot of the guesswork out and make a livable, believable environment. To me, it kind of looks like one of those paintings that you just drop water on and all the colors come out. It's very, very nice. Moreover, you may have heard me just say I'm using my Xbox controller for this. I could also be using touch on a Windows 8 device or with the Xbox One Smart Glass device, or I could use mouse and keyboard on the PC. It's really quite powerful, and each one adds to its own experience. So there, I've got this environment painted out. I feel pretty good about it, but it could use even more life. So I'm going to switch over to our nature brush. I'm going to scale our brush down just a touch, and from here, what I'm able to do, holding down right trigger, I can paint woodlands, but in this case I actually meant desert dunes. So I'll go back and use our undo brush and switch over to desert dunes. And from here, scale my brush down and start to paint not just terrain materials, but also a little bit of life in the form of trees and rocks. Each biome is going to paint its own variety of fauna and flora, and we can end up with a really unique looking area. Moreover, as I did earlier, I could switch to woodlands, and in painting I'm going to get little tiny green trees, some rocks painted, or if I want something a little bit more majestic, think Lord of the Rings, I could scale this brush up huge, and in doing so, painting will drop huge ant-style trees and really fills in this world beautifully. So I'm pretty happy with that. It looks quite nice. But you know what? I don't really believe that this desert's going to butt up against the trees. So maybe what I'll do is I'll switch over to our our river brush. And with our river brush, I'm able to start carving through and building a little bit of water. I can scale the brush down, and maybe I'm going to build a little island around here. And there. So let's see how this looks. Popping into test, I'm really quickly able to go back into the game, see all the changes I just made react in this environment. I can go swimming in the water to make sure that this feels right. Am I able to get out? The iteration loop is very tight. But I still haven't built this game I promised you yet, have I? I've just got an interesting looking level to start with. Well, let me make good on my promises, because I want to be invited back to the UK one day. In doing this, I can start to build something a little bit more interesting. This troll is still out here in the middle of nowhere, and I feel like that's not very realistic. I've built a pretty good home for him. Why is he not near it? So I can move him. Maybe I can give him like a buddy or two, you know, everybody needs a peer group. And from here, I can put one guy hiding in there, maybe a fourth one here. Moreover, at the top here, I could possibly scale this guy up, maybe rotate him a bit. If I wanted to, I could even go and add to his properties and change, let's say, his color. And I could make him, yeah, a nice big red troll. Nothing says boss troll quite like red. And I could place him where I need to. So what's great is I now have a little bit of environment to play in. But what I'm going to show you next now is a feature here that we unveiled at Gamescom called character recording. You may have recalled that at the start of this, the troll was showing some emotion. He was being a little bit angry. But if I didn't believe in that performance, or if I thought I could do a better job, I could switch this up and open up the recording studio and use the power of Connect to record my own performance. So with that said, I'm going to switch over here and I'm going to act a little goofy. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's got my skeleton here. I'm going to switch in, and I'm able to sit there and have it take control of me. So you can see as I'm raising my hands, it's moving it up. I'm able to kind of use my face to contort the face as I go along, and I can record this now. And I'm going to try and record, and voila. So I've got the recording session, it's opening and closing my mouth accordingly. It's actually recording my voice right now. It's a little bit noisy in here, so I'm not going to have that playback and unfortunately scare some people, but it's taking my impression here. So if I wanted to, I could say, "You'll never get my coin." Have it actually record that and play it back. What's beautiful about this too is I can then, I guess it is actually playing back. I have full power to crop this as I want to. So my performance there, you may have noticed I dropped the controller a bit. I can now end up using cropping to get a selective edit of what I want. Moreover, I can go into the options and properties and change things like the voice filtering. So I'm going to give it a monster voice. It's going to talk very deep and rich. I could offer a goblin voice and have it be very high pitched and something special. I'm going to go with monster, and away we go. I can now save this recording, and like most objects in Project Spark, I can give it a name, and moreover, I can share it with the community. I can save it and use it in any of my creations, and voila, I've got it as part of this. What I'm going to do here is two things. I notice there's a lot of trolls back there, so I'm a little bit scared that I'm outgunned. I'm going to edit my brain. Brains are the basic unit of programming in Project Spark, and with this you can drastically change gameplay. I'm going to open up the brain gallery and change my player's brain to a community-inspired brain called a creator brain, and we'll show you just what this does. But I also find it's a very good showcase for the powers of Project Spark. In Project Spark, we've got a very simple programming language. It's based off Microsoft's Odoo, which is a programming language aimed at school-age children who want to bridge the gap from being kids to programmers. It's built on a very simple concept of when and do. So you can read it from left to right and understand that when the left stick is pressed, you will do a movement. When the A button is pressed, you will jump. And that kind of language follows throughout, but it's got incredible power as well. We've got trigonometry functions, we've got some advanced math in there, vector math. You can do a lot of really cool stuff. So there we go. Now we've got some new gameplay mechanics and it's looking pretty powerful. But lastly, let's do something really drastic. I've painted this, and of course I'm an artiste, so it's perfect. But if I wanted to do something quite different, let me change the entire setting. I'm going to change this woodlands and desert area into something a little bit more cold, icy, and wintry. I can quickly and easily change the entire palette and have it be a winter wonderland. So let's see what my changes have yielded. I can go into test. I can go up and test this and say, there's my custom animation, you'll never get our precious coin. And that reminds me, part of the design and game iteration loop is interesting. You end up realizing what you're doing and what needs to be fixed. He said I'm never gonna get that precious coin, and he's quite right. I didn't put a coin in the level. Let's go back into edit, and let's add that, and let's see how it plays out. Going into edit, I'm gonna go into our prop edit mode, and I'm gonna pull up our gallery. Our gallery is kind of a toy chest full of toys that you can end up placing wherever you want to in the world. And one of my favorite types to use is called an assembly. Assemblies are an amalgamation of props and code. So I can take this coin trap, for example, that came from the community, grab it, and I can place it at the top of the world behind this gnarly troll. So there's no way I am gonna get that coin with these trolls around. So let's see how this new brain plays out. Popping back into test, I'm going to skip past my marvelous performance as the troll, and instead see how I fare against these four guys. So they're there, all hanging out. Birds still fly as they used to, and they're going to spot me, and they're not going to get along with me. So I'm going to use this new brain and all its powers, and I'm going to encircle them. I'm going to build a little bit of a troll zoo, as it were. This is going to keep them out of harm's way, and keep them from hurting other people. Ooh, that big one caught sight of me. He's on me. So, aha, welcome to my zoo. So Gandhi would be proud, no violence. This is, very well rated for kids. And now we're able to sit there and grab that coin. Let's see what happened with that community brain. In doing it, there's a bit of a rumble, some audio going on. I'm not sure what's going on. This one triggered an end of day event. There's a bit of fireworks going on here, so I'm gonna get the heck out of here and talk to you about our last feature that we presented for Gamescom and this event. People asked us at the end of E3, how big were your worlds? This looks like a tiny slab of work, but in fact, it's part of a bigger feature set called Infinite Worlds. As I run towards the edge, you're going to notice the world dynamically scale. It's going to grow out to a size of 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers by 600 meters tall. Combine this with our newest technology in level linking, which lets you put these together. You truly have an infinite feature set for building your games. So that's the end of this, and I'm going to show you other ways of building games using our Windows 8 device. So I'm going to move cameras probably, and we'll see how it goes. So welcome back. I just showed you a demo about our newest feature sets that we released at Gamescom for Project Spark. If you're not aware, you should go to joinprojectspark.com to learn more about us, to find out about our beta and get on it. But in the meantime, let me show you something else. I just showed you the deep end of the pool. It's our full power of our tool sets, which I think you'll agree are actually pretty simple yet powerful. But if you still feel a little bit cautious or you want to know if there's other ways to create in Project Spark, I've got 2 more tricks up my sleeve for you. One is a mode we call Project Spark's Crossroads. Dodging into Crossroads, this is a way to build a game through a simple set of narrative choices. We offer you a very simple tool set for building your world. In doing so, I can say, would you like to build this world using rivers or mountains? How about canyons? Building this is going to procedurally generate your terrain in a random way every time. Whatever I choose, there's no wrong answer. I get a choice here of how do I want to build my level. For this build, we currently have forest, Arctic, and desert. Over time, we'll be releasing more and more. And in doing this, we're going to start to build your world out after you've chosen your time of day here. So as this loads up, you can say, would you like day, or mountain, or morning rather? We've got mountains on the brain. Or night. And we're going to build the world out right in front of you. We're going to also ask you, what is your quest? What is your choice for this story? For this build, we currently have a third-person action-adventure. Go find the potion quest. But there's no, over time what we will be releasing is first-person shooter narratives, we'll be building side-scrollers, stuff that you can weave together into your narrative to tell your story. Selecting this, you're going to get the choice of where your hero lives, you can place it, you can choose your hero themselves and what they act like, what they look like, and we're going to drop you into a gameplay situation where you can start to play things. If you want more information on this, I'd recommend you go and check out some of our interactive gameplay demos where we end up showcasing Crossroads. You can really drive through this in a third-person action-adventure way and play through it. But for now, I'm going to show you my third way of building games, which is creating from some of the best titles out there. Switching over here, we've got our community titles. These are some of the titles that people have built, and I want to show you what they look like, as well as how you can remix them in fun and in creative ways. This is a title that if you've seen anything on Project Spark, we've showcased a lot because we really love it. It's a title we call Suspension. It's an homage to a very famous game out there called Limbo. Limbo is known for very beautiful, very dark lighting, some very interesting puzzles, and it's beautiful because it's a 2D game, which people wouldn't normally expect out of something like Project Spark, which out of the box looks very third-person in nature. But what if you're a glasses half full kind of guy? I want to make this look a little bit more lighthearted, more fun. You can edit anything in Project Spark, Suspension being no different. I can switch this up, change the sky that I want to use. I can also go down into our familiar tool set by now, go to my character, and I'm going to open up his brain, grab the camera code, remove it, and I'm going to add a different kind of camera, something that's very simple, a first-person camera. In doing this, going back into test mode, you're going to see Limbo like you haven't ever seen before. First-person, on-rails experience, the exact same game you saw before, but it's well lit, and the puzzles are still there. The character's still there, she's asking me to push the box towards her, and you can see that everything that was there previous still exists. I'm going to show you some other examples of how you can creatively remix stuff and other kind of non-conventional games you can create in Project Spark. I'm going to show you now a touch game that is very unexpected. This is what we call our Synthesizer. So this is a game that somebody made that's actually not really a game. It's a touch experience, which is beautiful because it provides powering on a keyboard, volume settings, beats that get played, and a full keyboard experience. What's really great about this, and I've talked about this in previous demos, is somebody here built a record functionality into this. So I can record, press my keys that I want to play, and at any point when I stop the recording, I can press play. And my hands are off, I swear, we're playing it back. We don't have a record functionality in Project Spark. The person who built this saw a way to do it using our coding language and built it into his game. We immediately rushed over and said, how did you do this? And we've learned so much from him, and we hope to learn so much from you as well. One last thing before I let you go, I want to show you the power of being creative with assets. With this, we don't really have any keyboard props, but that didn't stop this person. What we were able to do with this is look at his level and say, how did you build this? Looking here at our keyboard, you can look at some of these really interesting steampunky parts and say, how did they build that? This corner piece is a telescope. If I end up going here and taking this coin, spoiler alert, that's a coin. I meant to say that's a speaker. Here I can also go in, pull out the last of these parts, which I thought, where do we have this prop? Well, it turns out this prop that they're using is, in fact, a cannon. So why not? Use a cannon for a speaker. Project Spark invites your creativity to use assets in creative ways, use programming in creative ways, and just wow us with what you can do. There's no reason why you can't create, and we really want to see what you can build. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you found this interesting.